Hey everyone, my name is Chaitni and welcome back to my wellness channel. Today we're going to take some time and talk about how to manage comparisons to successfully achieve your health goals. So we've all been there, we're scrolling through a social media feed and at some point we look at somebody and think, why can't I look like that person? Or why can't I achieve what they have? And this isn't just on social media, even if you're out and about in person, or if you hear about someone, it is natural to have these thoughts. But when these thoughts are recurring and they get in the way of your health goals, then they turn toxic and they really become a hurdle to achieving your health goals. Unless they're inspiring you and motivating you to do better and to do more, they're actually something that comparison is something that's holding you back. So that's why we're going to spend some time talking about that because it's a major factor of what gets in the way of actually starting or continuing or even maintaining your health goals. But before we dive in, just a quick introduction about myself in case you're new here. My name is Chaitni. I am a health coach and nutritionist. I help clients cope with weight balance and stress management goals through healthy habit formation, positive lifestyle changes, and nutrition practices like mindful eating and intuitive eating, all of this without dieting. So if this video interests you, please make sure to subscribe and share it with anybody else you think who can take advantage of it. And if you're more of a reader, I do send out bi-weekly blogs. They're more of self-care and self-love reminders. You can access that through the link in my description. And lastly, you can follow me on Instagram at Imperfect Bodies by C Modi. Okay, so first things first, how does comparison hurt your progress? The mental impact is it leads to self-doubt. It also takes away from your wins and actually highlights somebody else's achievements and accomplishments, no matter where you are in your health journey. So even if your progress has been 1%, it's going to take away from that acknowledgement and that appreciation towards yourself and your efforts, and it's going to highlight somebody else's. So that's another big one. It also leads to unrealistic standards. A lot of times people just go on these crash diets. They think, all right, I'm going to lose this much weight in this much time. And they end up following a very unhealthy pattern of achieving that goal weight, which eventually they end up regaining that and then some just a few months down the road. Because again, they've set these really unrealistic standards. And especially when you look at social media, it can be so deceiving. You don't know what kind of makeup somebody has on or the angle that they've used to take the picture, and it can mask a lot of reality that is actually out there. So this is not a plug to not go on social media. If that's your thing, then do it, but be aware of what is really out there. What you're seeing is not necessarily 100% truth. So if it's going to interfere with your self-doubt, if it's going to get in the way and give you unrealistic standards, and if it's definitely not going to help you celebrate the smallest of wins, then it's having a really toxic impact on your mental health, and it is going to get in the way of achieving your health goals. And then the emotional and physical impact of this is it can lead to unnecessary stress. It can lead to a negative thought pattern. It can lead to negative self-talk where you're really beating yourself down. And this can then, come out in different ways. It can manifest itself in different ways. So, you might not really have the motivation to exercise because you're having these thoughts, or you might feel like, what's the point of eating healthy? I can't lose weight anyways, or I can't achieve my health goals anyways. Or it can even lead to that stress hormone, which is cortisol, that releases, and then that really messes with your hormones. It can even lead to emotional eating. And just overall, this can bleed into a lot of your habits, where you're just doom scrolling, you're losing out on sleep, you're losing out on whatever little progress that you can make, because these are thoughts, the negative thought pattern is actually holding you back. So when you compare, it can have a huge impact on, I would say, especially your motivation and your progress, which are two things that are really important to get to your health goals, because without any kind of progress, without any kind of action, you really don't have the motivation. Motivation doesn't come out of nowhere. Motivation comes out of action. So when you are focusing on others, that momentum is stalled and the focus is on others and not really on yourself. Okay, so how do you stop comparing? You might not be able to completely stop, and that's okay, but you can start to slowly move away from comparing yourself to others. So one of the things that you can do is, instead of focusing on others, you start to focus inwards. And there are two ways you can do that. One way is practice gratitude. If you're doing it, do it some more, and do it in plenty of ways. You know, it could be a gratitude list. It could be coming up with 3 things that you're really proud of yourself that you've accomplished in a day. And they could be really minor. You know, none of it has to be earth-shattering. So you can have that, you know, definitely start practicing more gratitude. Even saying thank you can make a big difference. The other thing is celebrate your wins, no matter how small, no matter how big. Every win should be celebrated. Even something as simple as choosing water over soda, or, you know, just going for a walk for 10 minutes. That's impactful because it all adds up. It's better than nothing at all. You know, I always say something is better than nothing. 10 minutes of walking is better than 0 minutes of walking. Because those 10 minutes, if you do it every single day, it will add up and you will see what a difference it makes. So start to celebrate your wins. Start to notice and be aware of the better choices that you're making, no matter how small. You know, if it's ordering salad instead of fries with your burger, that's a win right there. Or if it's actually getting to bed a little bit earlier, even if it's 10 minutes earlier than your normal bedtime, that's also a win. So celebrate those small wins and practice more gratitude. That's how you start to focus on yourself instead of focusing on others. Number 2 is curate your environment. What that looks like, or what that means is, you know, a lot of times you're following people on Instagram who aren't really good for your mental or your physical health. You know, you're following XYZ model and that's the body type you want to have, and you know that's your goal, but instead of working towards it, you're thinking, oh, I'll never get to where she is, or I'll never look like that, or oh my god, she looks so great and look at me. And that's how that negative thought pattern starts. So unfollow these accounts, mute these accounts, hide them, block them, whatever works. And it's not just celebrities that I'm talking about. You know, it could be family, friends, anybody whose account starts to feel like it's a trigger for you, especially at this point in time. Just cut that cord because it's not helping you. Instead, you know, maybe follow accounts that do resonate with where you are in your journey today, you know, right now. And not just with social media, even the people that you surround yourself with, you know, the ones that tend to compare a lot aren't going to elevate your goals. They aren't going to elevate the amount of effort that you put into achieving those goals. So surround yourself with the right kind of people who are authentic and who are going to be honest, and who are also pushing themselves to be a better version of themselves. So if you're trying to meet your potential, you want to try and surround yourself with people who are going to inspire you to do the same. So your environment is very important, whether that environment is on your phone or whether it's in person. Number 3 is reframe your thoughts. So when you're feeling really jealous, or when you're feeling envious, and instead of asking, you know, why can't I have what so-and-so has, change that and ask yourself, what can I learn from their success? You know, what have they done to get to that point? What sacrifices have they made? What kind of hard work have they put into it? You know, what does their life really look like? Or are you just choosing to see what you want to see? So take off those rose-colored glasses and see the person and see their life really for what it is. So ask the right questions. That's extremely important. You know, it's not just why do they have what I don't have? It's, okay, if I really want what they have, then how do I get there? You know, how can I feel inspired and not feel like I'm being envious or jealous without any kind of action? If it's leading to action, positive action, then sure, go for it. But you have to start reframing the thoughts. You have to start reframing the questions, so it doesn't lead to self-pity, it doesn't lead to procrastination, and it doesn't lead to just feeling like you're stuck. So if you want to be able to move, you have to be able to rephrase the thoughts, reframe the thoughts, and rephrase the questions. Number 4 is, this is the key, it's practice self-compassion. We are so unkind to ourselves, it's unbelievable. So, you know, if your goal is to go work out for 60 minutes 3 times a week, and you only made it twice a week because you had an emergency meeting, or your child fell sick and you really couldn't give it the time that you needed to, it's okay. Be nice to yourself, be understanding. You know, a lot of times in those situations we think, oh my God, you know, what's wrong with me? I can't even make it to the gym 3 times a week. And so, you know, wakes up at 5 in the morning and hits the gym at 6 a.m. and make sure that she gets a workout. I keep saying she because I'm a she. She keeps getting a workout, 5 times a week. So when that happens, really go in with compassion, go in with self-kindness, because you're going to need it. Change does not happen in an environment of shame. It really only happens when you are kind and compassionate towards yourself. And what this is going to teach you is that something is better than nothing mindset. So it helps you step away from an all or nothing approach, and you start to realize that even 5 minutes, even 10 minutes, even a few days is better than nothing at all. So start practicing that self-compassion. It takes time, but it's just, take it one day at a time. 5 is limit exposure to triggers. So this is similar to what I said about curating your environment. If your trigger is late night doom scrolling, try to limit it. Or put a timer on your social media use, or make sure that it's not something that you do right before you're falling asleep. If that's something that then leads to late night snacking, you definitely know that scrolling that late at night is a trigger for you. If there's certain places, certain people, certain environments that cause you to start this whole comparison, try to limit those interactions, limit those visits, and if you can, step away from that completely for a while until you feel like you're starting to regain your momentum and you're starting to make a difference with your health goals. So it's really important to keep an eye on those triggers, to really understand those triggers and understand what they lead to. I would say, instead of focusing on the outcome of, okay, I want to lose 10 pounds or this is my goal weight, really focus on the habits that you're building. Okay, my goal is going to the gym 3 times a week, and you don't need to get on the scale at the end of that week every time to see if you're moving the needle. You will start to feel it in many other ways, but that's a video for another day. So focus on your habits. It's like having a cup of vegetables a day. That's your goal, and you're going to do that twice a week, or you're going to go spend more time with family and friends, because social interaction is just as important to your health goals, and you're going to do that at least once a week in person. So focus on these habits, because habits make you who you are, and your habits will eventually help you achieve those health goals. Number 6 is track your progress, as long as it's not a trigger. For some people it is, so if it is a trigger for you, don't do it. But if it isn't, start tracking your progress. How many times a week did you go to the gym? Or how many times a week did you do what you promised yourself you would do? And the reason you do this is not to berate yourself if it doesn't happen. It's to understand your pattern. So if things are not happening as planned, how can you change that? Do you need to change the goal? Do you need to change some of the other factors that can help you achieve that goal? Maybe it's the time of day, maybe it's the practice that you've chosen. What is it that you need to change so that you can actually get to the goal, including the goal itself? So that's the whole point of tracking, is it helps you evaluate whether what you're doing is working or whether it needs to be modified. And lastly, connect with yourself. We spend so much time connecting with our phone, connecting with our work, connecting with everything else but ourselves. And one of the best ways to do that is through meditation, but that's not the only solution to it. It's just having some grounding practices, or even having some quiet time, taking 5 minutes to yourself through the day, where you close your eyes, or even if you look out the window and it's just you and the sky, or it's just you with your eyes closed, no noise, there's nothing going on around you, there's no stimulation whatsoever. So start to reconnect with yourself, because when you do that, again, that focus will shift from others and it will shift to what you really want. You'll be able to start hearing yourself and have clarity of thought, clarity of vision, and clarity of action. So it's very important to form that bond, that really rock solid bond with yourself, so you can actually hear yourself and you can make the changes that you want to make. So that pretty much wraps it up. If you enjoyed this, or if you got some value out of it, just leave a comment or make sure to subscribe for Real Talk Health Goals. And just make sure, focus on your own journey, your own growth, your own goals. It's really easy to compare yourself to others, but there are going to be so many differences when you actually zoom out and take a look at what you have, don't have, versus what they have and don't have. So don't just go in with, with the narrow lens. Take a look at the big picture, and really don't even spend your time doing that. I would say really just focus on yourself, and that's when you will start to see true change. So as always, thank you for your time. I will catch you here very soon. In the meantime, take really good care of yourself. Thank you so much. Bye.